Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. My name is Sudhir Sahasranaman, and I hope all of you are doing well. Today, in this video, I'm going to explain the 10th chapter of your social science textbook, Exploring Society, India, and Beyond. So, the 10th chapter is also the second chapter of civics in this particular textbook and has to deal with the Constitution of India. Let me just take it out. This is the chapter that I am talking about. Now, we will be doing this in two parts. And before I start, I want you to do a couple of things. Keep this textbook open in front of you because I will be referring to it. Point number two, keep a notebook and a pen so that you can take down notes as I speak. Point number three, after you have seen the video, share the video with at least 3 of your friends or your juniors next year. And point number four, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Now, we've already seen in the previous chapter, chapter number 9, about democracy, right? We have done that in both English and Hindi. Even the Hindi explanation of this, ek alag playlist mein kiya jayega. So please, for those of you who want to understand it in Hindi, look at the Hindi playlist. Okay. Now, what exactly is the Constitution of India? The Constitution of India is India's rule book, right? It is the book which lays down the rules by which the country will be governed largely. Okay, so when we look at your textbook, it says it has a quote of Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who was the first president of India elected or chosen in 1950. Now, he said, I would like to point out that if you are able to act according to the constitution which has been adopted, right? He says that if we act according to these are the laws laid down in the constitution, and if we obey those laws which are there in the constitution, we will be able to make our country great. Now, this is a goal which is within our power to reach, but its realization would require hard physical and mental labor. So, while it is possible to achieve the goal of making India great, it would need a lot of hard physical labor, moral regeneration, and mental labor. So, a lot of hard work is required. What he said, and this is important, he said we have prepared a democratic constitution. Democratic means it is from the point of view of people, it is for the people of India, it is to ensure the prosperity of the people of the Indian Republic. But the successful working of democratic institutions, which we saw in chapter number 9, when we are talking about parliament, we are talking about the courts in India, we are talking about the entire government structure. It requires that those who are there in that different uh, levels of government, they should respect the viewpoint of others. Someone in government, a minister at the center, he doesn't like what someone in Mumbai is saying. He cannot send him to jail. He has to try and convince that what I'm saying is correct. Also, listen to the other viewpoint. Maybe what he's saying would prove to be absolutely correct. And there has to be a spirit of accommodation, means that I am willing to listen to you. Maybe 3 points that you are mentioning are good points, and therefore I should include it in my presentation, right? So that spirit of listening, spirit of accommodation has to be there. Just like you have a teacher in your class, she says that these are the rules that you must need to follow, but some of you feel that rule number 8 is not entirely correct. Can it be changed a little? Can it be relaxed a little? Can it be removed? Now, if the teacher says that no, nothing doing, you have to follow what I say, that means that the teacher is not being accommodative. Whereas if she says that, okay, I will look into it, maybe we can change it, maybe we will not implement the rule on all the 5 days of the week, we will implement it only on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, this rule will not be implemented. That means she is, in a sense, compromising. That is, she's willing to see your point of view and being accommodating about what you think about that particular rule. I hope you have understood with the help of this example. Now, let's understand what exactly is the history of the Republic of India, right? So India's first president highlighted that acting according to the constitution is key to making the country great. Means that holds the key to making India great, and it requires hard work. It requires moral regeneration. Moral regeneration means that you should be able to do the right thing, which is ethically right, which is morally right, right? Honesty, hard work, uh, ensuring that you are fair to everyone. These are all the right moral values. For successful working of a democratic institutions, he also said that you have to respect the viewpoints of others and be able to compromise and accommodate another opinion. I hope you have understood this. Now, why is January 26 important? Now, this is interesting, and I have put out for you the front page of the Indian Express newspaper, okay, of that time, on which India was declared as a sovereign democratic republic. Now, what happened was, in the year August 15, 1947 is when India became independent, right? However, India became a republic on January 26, 1950. What is the significance of Republic Day as opposed to Independence Day? So, what exactly happened was that India declared itself as a sovereign, democratic republic. I'll explain to you what exactly it means. So, this is from the front page of the newspaper, and doesn't it look very interesting? Okay. Now, on this day in 1950, that is on Jan 26, India became a republic and the Constitution of India came into effect. The Constitution of India, which was being written all these years after, in fact, the work started even before independence, it spent more than 3 years to write the Constitution of India. It became effective on 26th of January 1950. Therefore, that day is celebrated as the Republic Day. Now, what happens on January 26th? The day is celebrated every year as Republic Day. It is observed with a grand parade, as you would have seen in New Delhi, with a large parade, lot of tableaus, the unfurling of the tricolor, and the showcasing of India's military might, army, air force. There is a march past. There is an air show. Everything happens out there in New Delhi on the 26th of January. Okay. Now, these are some of the other visuals that you would see in the thing. These are the what is called the tableau or the jhanki in Hindi. It's called. You can see the Tamil Nadu tableau being going on that road, which used to be called Rajpath. Now it's called Kartavya Path, if I'm correct. You see all the military, etc., the bands, etc. And these are the 4 questions that we will be dealing with in this particular chapter. Okay. Now, there is a story being told. There is a story being told. It says it was yet another chilly January morning in Delhi. It's always very cold, right? On January 26th, much like every Republic Day. Mass voice echoed through the house. Wake up, it's time, or you will miss the parade. Has any one of you seen the parade? I have seen it when I grew up in Delhi, so I've seen it. Papa already up switched on the television to Doordarshan and said, Kumar, Niharika, come quickly, the parade has started. The children jumped out of their warm beds, rushing to sit in front of the television, eager not to miss even a moment of the Republic Day parade. The sight of the majestic marching bands, vibrant displays, and the unfurling of the Kartavya Path, of the tricolor at Kartavya Path, what I just now told you, filled. Earlier name of Kartavya Path used to be Rajpath. It used to be called Rajpath earlier, but now it is called Kartavya Path. Filled the room with pride and excitement. This day carries a deep significance. It marks the coming into effect of the Indian Constitution on the 26th of January 1950. The book in the picture below this is our Constitution. To keep it safe, it is carefully preserved in a helium-filled glass case in Parliament. But what exactly is a Constitution and why is it important? Now, why is it kept in a helium-filled glass case? Because helium is a gas that does not react with paper or ink, helping it to preserve the Constitution over time. Otherwise, over a period of time, the paper quality would have suffered and the Constitution, it could kind of even tear or get damaged in some way or the other. Helium gas ensures that that does not happen. Now, this is the Constitution of India, which is preserved in Parliament. Now, you would have seen you would remember in class 6 in your textbook, we saw the meaning of the word Constitution. I told you about how the word came into being. Now, here we are going to talk about in greater detail about the Constitution of India. Now, it is the document that many important officials of our country pledge to uphold. So, when you take oath as a minister or as a member of parliament or as a member of the legislative assembly, you take oath generally on the constitution, right? आप शपथ लेते हैं that you will uphold whatever has been written in the Indian Constitution. The president takes an oath also to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So, in that sense, it is a supreme book of the Indian Republic. The Prime Minister, as I said, the councils or Council of Ministers, the judges, they all promise that they will follow whatever is written in the Constitution of India. So what exactly does it mean? So it means that it is a document. I don't know why I'm having a lot of pain on the right side. A simple answer is that it is a document. It is a document that spells out a country's basic principles and laws. So this is a definition that you should know, that it is a document that lays out, and it's not just India, many other countries will have their constitution. It also lays out the framework of the three organs of the countries, that what will be the role of the legislature, what will be the role of the executive, what will be the role of the judiciary, what will be their responsibilities, duties, etc. It also checks and balances between that, judiciary, as I told you in the previous chapter. A lot of ache. It checks and balances between the three organs. The judiciary cannot interfere in the working of the legislature. Legislature cannot interfere in the working of the judiciary, vice versa. Executive, same thing, right? So it is to basically ensure that everybody is fair, independent, and is responsible for what they do. The Constitution also lays down, and this is very important for all of us, the rights and duties of the citizens, the fundamental rights about which you will study in class 9 in detail, the fundamental duties of the citizens. And it generally lays out what India as a republic, as a nation, as a country will actually do in the future. I hope all this is clear. Now, why do we need a constitution? You may ask, we know all this, why do we really need a constitution? So here they have tried to explain it with the help of an example, that your school has reached the final tournament of kabaddi at the state level. Your opponent, the rival team, is a very strong team that has won the tournament 2 years consecutively. Last 2 years, it has been won by that particular school. So they are trying to win it for the third time, because a hat trick is something which is to be, is commendable. It is something to be celebrated. So the match is on, and a player from your team has just got one of the players from the other team out. But then there is a dispute. Okay, the other team does not agree that that particular player is out. The player from the other team insists that she had already crossed into her team area, and therefore she's not out. But the referee says that it is out. So how do you settle the dispute? Amicably means, in a very nice manner, how do you settle the dispute? So the referee takes out the rule book. The Constitution is like that rule book for the entire country. So the team captains discuss. Confer means confer with the referee means discuss. Discuss with the referee, look at the rules, and then they agree, yeah, the player was indeed out, and therefore your team has won the trophy. They are not able to achieve a hat trick. So discuss in your group what might have happened if there was no official rule book. Then there will be complete pandemonium. Pandemonium means there will be jhagada, there will be quarrels, there will be fights, because there is no rule book to go by. But now we have a rule book, so all the players, all the coaches, everybody has to follow that particular rule book. So that's what happens. So for everything, even in a school, please find out there will be a list of rules and responsibilities, do's and don'ts, that you can do this, you cannot do that. So if you have to, the playing area in the playground is not a place where you can have your lunch, for instance. The lunch has to be eaten inside or near the canteen. Different schools may have different kinds of rules. So our constitution is something like a rule book for the country, what I just now told you, it's like a rule book for the country. And just as your textbook has many sections in chapters, for example, your textbook for class 7 has 12 chapters, of which the first 3 are from geography, the next 4 I think are from history, then the 8th one is from cultural history, the next 2 are from civics, the 10th chapter we are reading, and the last 2 are from economics, right? So it has many sections, and in every sections there are many chapters, right? Similarly, the Constitution of India has 25 parts and 12 schedules. There is something called the schedule of the Constitution, which is another way of saying chapter or section, right? Each part has sections within it. It is the world's largest written constitution. Very important. You need to know this. Okay. It is the world's largest written constitution. And when it came into effect in 1950, at that time, it had 22 parts and 8 schedules. At that time, 22 plus 8, please remember, you just remember 30, 22 plus 8. But in today's day and age, in 2025, the numbers have increased. Why have they increased? And that's what they're asking. Can you guess why have they increased? Because every time you felt that there was a need to amend the constitution. Amend means make some kind of addition, make some kind of subtraction from the constitution, change some of the law. For example, I'll give you an example. In 1950, between 1946 and 1950, when this particular constitution was written, actually it was adopted by 1949 November 26, which is celebrated as Constitution Day. What happened was, at that time, they looked at the India of that time. Or let's say they looked a little, okay, in the next 10 years, 20 years, this will happen. But at that time, they could not have, for example, thought of the internet. They could not have thought of the telecom revolution. They could not have thought about various kinds of things, of television, satellite channels, so many mobile phones. No. So when you have these kind of changes taking place in the world, you need to make laws which will figure in that. So for example, now you have something called the Information Technology Act. Okay. Now, Information Technology Act could not have been made in 1950 because at that time we did not know about it. So whenever there are these changes taking place in the world, you need to include that in the constitution, and therefore the number of pages, the number of parts, the number of schedules has increased from 1950 to 2025. That is the reason for that. Okay, I hope I have made it clear with the help of this example. So the basic rules and principles in a constitution determine what kind of a government will be there, how it will be formed. Now, election happen, but no party gets a clear majority, right? For example, in 2024, what happened? The BJP on its own got 240 seats, whereas you need 272 seats out of 543 in the Lok Sabha in order to be in a majority. So it needed at least 32 more members in order to get it. So it got the support of other friendly parties like Janata Dal United from Bihar, Telugu Desam from Andhra Pradesh, etc., and formed the government. So the constitution makes it very clear in what will be the conditions in which a government can be formed. So that is all written in the constitution. So that's why they say it's like a rule book for the country. This includes many principles we saw in the previous chapter, how the legislature, executive, judiciary are formed, how they work. A constitution describes, for example, how laws will be made, how they will be implemented, who elects the executive, how the judiciary is made, and what rights and duties individual citizens have, right? So all these kind of things. So many constitutions, including the Indian Constitution, also state the values and ideals the country is committed to. And this is important. What kind of a country will we be? You have to make it very clear. For example, even at your home, your father and mother will, or your grandfather and grandmother will lay down the rules that on Diwali, this is what we will do. On Eid, we will do this. On Christmas, we will go to an orphanage, donate clothes to the poor, or during Diwali, we will distribute sweets among our friends and relatives. So these are all kind of rules which your parents or your grandparents have made. Similarly, every country also has this thing that we will be this kind of a country. This is the kind of government we will have. So what kind of stuff has been decided for India? For example, in India, be this thing, equality and justice for all, that everybody, every citizen is equal. Like there is no difference between you and, let's say, a minister in the central government. There is no difference between the president of India and someone who is working in a bank, let's say in Karnataka. Everybody is equal before law, and therefore everybody should get justice. That's very important. That if some injustice has been done to someone, in the sense that someone has, let's say, uh, some theft has taken place in somebody's home, so it is the responsibility of the police to ensure that you catch the thief and return whatever has been stolen to the owner. Similarly, fraternity essentially means brotherhood. Pluralism, that is everybody, we all, I mean, some of us practice Hinduism, some of us follow Islam, some of us follow Christianity, some of us follow Jainism, Sikhism. So there are different religions, different castes. So everybody is free to follow whatever religion he or she wants to follow, whatever caste he comes from. There will be no discrimination on the basis of religion or caste or economic status. Somebody may be rich, somebody may be poor, but you cannot differentiate between the two, and everyone is free to follow. You are free to wear what you like to wear. You're free to travel by whichever mode of transport you wish to follow, travel by. You're free to study whatever you want to study. So these are all the freedom that has been granted under the Constitution of India, and these are some of the important things that most constitutions contain. For example, values and ideals of a society, like what exactly will it be that you need to follow. Similarly, what kind of political system will be there, how will elections take place. Like in India, I told you in the previous chapter, elections are held every 5 years. In USA, they are held every 4 years. That's what their constitution has said. They will follow their constitution, they will not follow Indian constitution. India will not follow American constitution, right? So we will conduct our elections every 5 years. They conduct their elections every 4 years. Similarly, the constitution will talk about the fundamental rights and duties of the citizens. It will also talk about the structure and formation of the government. It will talk about the functions of different parts of the government, like what is the finance ministry supposed to do, what is the agriculture ministry supposed to do, what is the sports minister supposed to do, right? So it provides the guiding principles, that this is on the basis of which the government will function. Now, writing the Constitution of India. Now, Dr. Sachidananda Sinha was the president of the Constituent Assembly. Now, the Constituent Assembly was formed before India became independent in order to start the process of writing of the Constitution for India as well as for Pakistan. They had a separate Constituent Assembly. So he said that, this is something very important work that has been started, and he wished everyone luck in this particular code, that you need to kind of write a constitution which will really be important for the entire country. While India was struggling for independence from British rule, it was necessary to start planning for how we would govern ourselves, because at that time, the Britishers were very skeptical. Skeptical means they were very doubtful. How will this Indian govern themselves? Very soon they will not be able to govern. This country will break, and they will come running to us saying that, please help us, kind of a thing. So they had this sense of, superiority complex. But look at us, 75 years we have remained independent and as a prosperous and economically strong nation, right? So at that time, it was necessary to start planning. Okay, we will get independence in 1947. How will we govern ourselves well, right? Because we are a country where different languages are spoken. Every state wears different kinds of clothes. Different kinds of festivals are followed. Different religions are there. Some are Muslims, some are Hindus, some are Jains. So how will we all live together? So we need a government which will represent all of us. The one community should not feel that this government does not represent me. That feeling should never come. He should feel that this is also my government. This is my prime minister. This is my chief minister. This is my president. So all those, that kind of feeling of pride and feeling of oneness should be there. To answer these and many other questions, a Constituent Assembly was formed in 1946 with 389 members initially. Later, it was reduced to 299. Why? Because India was partitioned and Pakistan became a separate country. Out of these many countries, uh, 15 were out of these many members, 15 were women. These members represented India's diverse region, professions, and social groups. Social groups means different castes, different professions were also there. Some lawyers, some doctors, some engineers, some teachers, different people. Diverse regions means from the southern part, northern part, eastern part, western part, central part, everywhere, right? So, how was our constitution developed? Let me just see out here. So, I'm just to kind of recap, the constitution is a the constitution is a document that lays down the basic principles and the laws of a nation. It's like a rule book for the country, and this particular phrase is something which you should definitely use in your answers, right? You should definitely use in your answers. The Constitution of India is a document that many important officials pledge to uphold when they are taking oath. The president takes an oath to preserve, protect, and defend it, and the prime minister, council of ministers, and judges promise to follow its provisions. Now, after this, how was our constitution developed? How was it developed? Now, it was developed and written by the Constituent Assembly for a period of over 3 years. As I already said, it was formed on 9th of December 1946, the Constituent Assembly, and its members were elected by the Legislative Assembly of the provinces. Provinces are like, earlier it was provinces, later on we became states. Whose members? So Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly. He subsequently became India's first president. The work was completed, what I told you, 26th of November 1949, and that's why it is called the Constitution Day, even celebrated as the Constitution Day, right? And it was adopted. It came into effect on 26th of January 1950. So the work was finished. It was completed on 26th November 1949, and exactly 2 months later, on 26th of January 1950, it was adopted as the Constitution of India. And therefore, that day is celebrated as the Republic Day. So the initial text of the Constitution was prepared by a drafting committee, which was chaired by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Okay, he was an eminent social reformer, and he also was the first law minister of independent India, right? So in this photograph, you can see this is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, his statues you will find all over the country. And these were the other members of the drafting committee. Some of them were changed, etc. But these were largely the people who were part of the committee which wrote the Indian Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the chairman, Dr. N. Gopalaswamy Iyengar, Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, K.M. Munshi, Mohammad Sadullah, N. Madhav Rao, T.T. Krishnamachari. So you can see from different regions and different kinds of people. Some of them were lawyers, some of them were academicians, etc., social reformers, etc. Now, this is what I have told you, which is why I put that names of the people who were part of the drafting committee. Now, what shaped and influenced the Indian Constitution? Now, while the Constitution was developed by the Constituent Assembly, they also looked at constitutions in different other countries in the world, like USA, Britain, France. They looked at the constitutions which were adopted in those countries, and they also kind of incorporated, because many of these people, in fact most of them, were also part of the Indian freedom movement. So because they were part of the Indian freedom movement, they knew exactly what India as a young country, newly independent country, really needed. Okay, so all those things should also be part of the Indian Constitution. So useful learnings from constitutions of other countries were also considered, right? And India's civilizational heritage and culture also played a key role. So influence of the Indian freedom movement. Now, many key ideals and values of the Indian freedom struggle were enshrined. Enshrined means included in the Constitution. The Constitution was the cornerstone. Cornerstone means everything. We will say that this is written in the Constitution or not written in the Constitution. So a number of leaders of India's freedom movement, what I just now told you, and they carried their experience and ideas from the freedom struggle to the Constitution. So they, if I am, let's say, from Gujarat, I've taken part in the freedom struggle. I know the problems of the people of Gujarat. So I would say that this particular part should be part of the Constitution because it affects such a large number of people in my home state of Gujarat. So that kind of a inclusion was made. So some of the values which were included in the constitution were equality for all, what I told you already, justice for all, freedom for all, brotherhood, that is fraternity, preservation of India's cultural heritage, because India is such an old country, right, with a rich cultural history. So that should get reflected in the constitution, and the idea of using the constitution as a tool for meaning, for achieving these values and ideals. So that the book is important. So this is a meeting of the Constituent Assembly taking place in the photograph on the right, and here you can see Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So the experience and learnings from the freedom struggle also provided answers to many of the how and what questions. Now, what are the how and what questions? How do we make sure that every adult citizen has a right? So initially they said that above 21, everybody could vote. Subsequently, in 1985, it was reduced to 18 years, that anybody who is above 18 years of age can vote. How do we ensure that the powers of the judiciary, legislature, and executive kept separate? So separation of powers is very important. This was included in the constitution. How do we guarantee that every individual's fundamental rights are respected? So you have the courts. If anybody, if the government or any other individual is violating your fundamental right, you can go to the Supreme Court or the High Court and say that this has been done to me. Then what should be the process if you want to amend the constitution? Then the government brings an amendment, it is debated in parliament, and then the constitution can be amended on a particular thing. Then what should be the relationship between the central and the state governments, right? Because the center is there and every state has a government. Is the center the boss of the state government? Not entirely. Does the state government have to listen to everything that the central government does? No, not necessarily. But certain subjects like defense of the country, communications, railways, foreign affairs, all these are with the central government because they concern the entire country, right? But states have control over things like agriculture, law and order in every state. All these come under the purview of the individual state government. So this, about all this we will learn in class 9 and 10 in greater detail. So what we will do is that we will stop part A, first video out here. In second part, I will talk about India's civilizational heritage and history, which finds a voice in the Constitution of India. So about all that, we will read in the second video. We will explain in the second video. I hope yahan tak ka you have understood it completely. I'll see you now in the second video. Tata, bye bye. Thank you very much. Namaskar.